Well, we've all been saying that Arsenal need to sign a forward. Could it be Matheus Cunha? That's what the reports today are saying. We're going to go through the reports. We're going to talk about the player in a little bit more detail. We're going to try to get some opinions on whether we think this is a good one or not. But there's something in this. This is no kind of loose link that's just sort of doing the rounds. There's something in this. There's actually been a little bit of momentum building in the last sort of day or two that suggested this kind of link might come forward. And now we're hearing that the player is Matheus Cunha that Arsenal supposedly working on a deal for. Team News and Ticks have come up with some updates yesterday that fits, or the reports we're seeing today from Sami Mokbel and the Daily Mail fit with what Team News and Ticks were saying. And we know that in the absence of Bukayo Saka, but not even with the Saka injury, we know that Arsenal need to add a little bit more firepower. Now, I think that people saw this window in two ways. Do you get someone who is very much a January signing, who does a job, who comes in and gives you a little bit of depth in the forward line, that is certainly a good player, that certainly adds something, but you're looking at them for the here and now? Or do you go and bring that summer transfer forward by 5-6 months? Do you go get that summer top target and say, listen, we were going to pay 90 million for you. Okay, maybe we're going to pay 60, 70 million for you in the summer. We'll pay 80 million so we get you now. Is that kind of deal what Arsenal should be doing? Now, I vote for the latter. How possible is that? I don't know. But the other big question is Matheus Cunha. Is he more the first option or the second option? Some people really, really rate this player. Others, and I have to include myself in this, aren't really sure. I don't quite get the signing. I'll tell you what I mean. Let's just go through all the reports first and I'll explain where I kind of am with it. So Sami Mokbel has said via dailymail.co.uk in his tweet that Arsenal are interested in Matheus Cunha, but Wolves are working to sign the forward to a new contract. Transfer difficult this month, with Wolves desperate to keep the forward. Now, Team News and Ticks had said that there was, basically an approach from Arsenal this window to talk to players and get them to almost agree to a move before we negotiate with clubs. I think that is, and I'm paraphrasing this, apologies if I sort of word it wrong, but that is kind of generally, I think, how football business can work these days. You get a feel for whether the player's interested or not first. And that there was someone that we were supposedly close to agreeing personal terms with, but that agreeing a fee with the club was going to be quite difficult. Now, it turns out that that player is Matheus Cunha. He has said Team News and Ticks via his patron that the player he spoke about yesterday was Matheus Cunha. He says it feels unlikely to him due to Wolves wanting to keep him. He's also been told that we'd have to pay over valuation for him, but he doesn't know what the valuation would be. Okay, let's make sense of this then. Matheus Cunha has been in really good form for Wolves. He's been very good for them. What do we know of the player? He's a 10/striker/wide player. I think he's very comparable positionally to Leandro Trossard. He's a little bit, I think, a touch bigger and stronger. I think he's got a little bit more presence than Trossard. I wouldn't say he's necessarily much quicker than him. Maybe he is. I'm not sure. I haven't watched, enough of Cunha to know whether he kind of has that great blistering pace. I'm not 100% sure. So if he's kind of a player more in the mould of Leandro Trossard, so I think that's how he feels to me, then I'm not really sure what we're doing this deal for, because, well, A, we've got Trossard, but B, I think Arsenal need one of the following players. Either a real reliable goal scorer up front, someone who needs very little space and very little time to get a shot away, who more often than not hits the back of the net, who you can back, with a 5 out of 10 chance to put in the back of the net, who you can back when they're one-on-one, who's going to score basically 15 goals between now and the end of the season. I think you either go for that player or you go for an electric wide player, someone who's got blistering pace, who gives you a threat in transition, who needs very little in the way of touches and space to beat his fullback, someone who makes you not lose sight of the left-hand side and makes you not lose, if you're the opposition, makes you not lose attention of the left-hand side, even if everything is flowing through Ødegaard, White, Timber, Saka on the right. And I don't think Matheus Cunha is either of these players. I think he's a good player, very good player, who can play out wide, who's got immense trickery, who can score some really spectacular goals. I'm sure his highlight reel at Wolves looks fantastic. I really liked him, by the way, before he was at Wolves. I mean, genuinely, this is one of those players I thought we should have been looking at before he ended up in the Premier League playing for Wolves. So please don't think for 1 second I don't rate the guy. I do. I'm just not sure he fits either one of the profiles that I think this squad needs. So the other thing you could do is bring him in as a striker, and therefore he's kind of rotating with Havertz, because I think he would do a good job linking up play. I think he would do a good job, in build-up. I think he'd be better as a false nine for us. You could play him there. And then you're asking Jesus to probably be a wide player for the rest of the season, but he's just started finding his goals. He's just started putting the ball in the back of the net. Now, you could say, okay, we're going to the second half of the season with Havertz and Cunha as your strikers, Jesus, Sterling and Waneri as your wide right players, and Trossard and Martinez as your wide left players. You know, it's good, but is it great? Like, the player I'm most excited about there is a 17-year-old. And then the next player I'm most excited about is someone who hasn't shown his best form since 2 years ago in Martinelli. The player who's in the best form there is Gabby Jesus, yet in the way I've just relayed it there, we'd be moving him out of position. So, okay, then you say, well, no, we play him as a wide left player, but already Martinelli, Trossard and Raheem Sterling, including that, play their best football off the left. You'd be adding Cunha to that. So I'm just not sure this answers any of the questions that we need answering. I'm not sure it adds anything that Arsenal don't already have. Okay, it's more quality. Okay, it's numbers. But then they're talking about paying over valuation. If this were a player, let's put it this way. If this were a player in his final year of his contract, final year and a half, something like that, and basically, like Trossard. I mean, wasn't Trossard in his last 6 months when we signed him? If he was that kind of player, right, in his last 6 months, and we could pick him up for 20 million, like we did Trossard. If it was a case of doing that deal over no deal, I'd definitely do that deal. And you bring him in, and, you know, he plays a part because it's the best we could do this window. I'm just making up a scenario here. And, you know, then you probably move one of him or Trossard on in the summer, or obviously Sterling would leave, and then you've kind of got your sixth player there. You know, you do something like that. You know, whilst also having to do the real additions in the summer. That would make sense to me. But paying over valuation, I mean, I think that, off the top of my head, I mean, we were doing this on Forever Arsenal with Jordan, and he was saying, you know, why don't you go to Wolves and pay 65 million? They'd probably take it. And I thought, my word, I would hope they take that, because I wouldn't want to pay a penny above 45, really. And even then, I'm like, 45, 50? Like, you know, if we're desperate, and I think we are, that's it. That's the most I'd pay for this player. But already the kind of bar that his value's kind of set at among sort of fan conversation or whatever is around 65 million. I mean, Wolves might be thinking the same. I don't know of any other numbers that are doing the round. So, yeah, do comment on this video if that gets found out. But I mean, I'm just going to quickly refresh here, see if anything else pops up on my phone. But I can't, you know, I like the player, I do. But I don't love this signing, not for where we are. I'm just having a look now. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing in terms of a value or anything. Let me know in the comments below, everyone. I want Arsenal to do business this window. And I tell you what, I'll give credit for a couple of things to the club. If this is the player they want, they've identified it early. It's the 3rd of Jan and we already have a name. So if this is the player they want and they're going to make big strides and they've agreed personal terms, whatever, they clearly want him, at least they're acting early. Do I think he adds nothing to Arsenal? Absolutely not. He would definitely add something. For sure he would. Good, very good player. What else do I like about it? It feels, what I said on Forever Arsenal, and I took it from someone's tweet who I keep forgetting to credit because I can't remember who tweeted it, but it does feel like we would be, for once, signing an attacker whose stock is on the up. This is a player who is getting better. So that would be a plus as well. And like I said, if it's the guy they really, really want, then I'm happy for that too, because it means Arsenal have been quite decisive there. But if this is a case of it's just the one they feel they can do, and this early they're kind of panicking and going quite quick on it, when you haven't really explored the Brian Mbemos, the Mohamed Kuduses, the Semenyos, the Lookmans, then I start to love it less. I don't love it at all anyway. Look, I'm umming and ahhing. I don't really think there's much more to add to that. I've tried to sort of explain as best as possible what I think of the deal. A reminder that Arsenal are interested in the player, but Wolves really want to keep him and give him a new contract, and that is going to cost a lot of money if we are going to get him out of there. It just doesn't feel like it's doable for me. Nor do I think it makes complete sense. And I don't think Arsenal will part with the kind of cash Wolves would probably want unless they are convinced it really makes sense to them. So let's see. Help me make sense of it more in the comment section below. I will be reading through your comments, see what you all think. Matheus Cunha to Arsenal, do you want him at the club? And does, you know, and actually I probably should have said this a bit earlier, but it seems that personal terms might well be agreed. but I can't imagine that would be, too much for a problem. And that's just me putting two and two together with what TNAT, Team News and Tick, said when he, basically said that, there was someone we were close to personal terms with. The fact that it's now become a bit more public, does that mean there's something really in this? I don't know. Anyway, look, we'll leave it there. Big thanks to everyone. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this vid. Subscribe to the channel. And yeah, like I said, I've said this 1,000 times, but I really mean it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Help me understand the player a bit more in this deal, because I'm not sure I quite get it at the moment.